in the V8's roar in the Primus 1000 Classic from Mount Panorama, Bathurst.
Set to go, green light, they're away. Brock gets away to a great start. Sideways. He gets away the best. It's going to be Brock. Perkins has got the downside run, but Peter Brock will take him through the first corner.
Good run for Perkins, great.
Side by side up Mountain Straight for the first of 161 times. This big field of V8 sort themselves out, but it's Peter Brock in 0-5 who'll lead this field up Holden Hill toward Repco corner for the first time.
Cricket Fitzgerald got away quite nicely as well, but it's Brock Jones coming up the outside of Perkins as well. They hit Repco corner. The big V8s, they climb the mountain. Let's hear them roar.
Toward GIO cutting, it's Peter Brock in charge, Larry Perkins in second, Alan Jones in the Komatsu forward, and listen to the crowd greet this field as they thunder across the top of the mountain for the first time. Big cheer for the mountain man, Peter Brock in 0-5. This is where they want him. 161 laps, 0-5 leads them down through the cutting, down toward Forest Elbow for the first time. Larry Perkins in the Castrol Commodore locked in second. Alan Jones the first of the forwards. Then it's Glenn Seaton. Big field swings down Forest Elbow for the big run down Conrod Straight, reaching speeds in excess of 290 kilometres an hour.
What a determined start it was from Peter Brock in the 05 Mobile HRT Commodore. He sort of got pretty sideways off the start, but he was so determined to hit Hell Corner first.
Well, he did, but how about Jonesy? Really excellent start, and interesting to see the speed down the straight. There's not a lot to choose between any of them. Top four, first and same.
Well, they all want to be sitting in that big draft at the start just to get their tyre temperatures up, get nicely settled. They don't want any mistakes like spins this early in the race. So all the field sort themselves out. Fabulous sight as they sweep through Caltex Chase and down toward Murray's corner for the first time. And listen to the crowd roar. It's Peter Brock leading the Primus 1000 Classic as they cross the line for the first time.
Well, settle in and get nice and comfy. That's one down. We've got 160 to go here at Mount Panorama. Perkins got away to a terrific start as well from fourth, coming up into second. Jones from sixth to third. Seaton's gone backwards a little bit. And there's John Faulkner, who started from eighth position. It is green flag at the back of the grid. Nothing shakes the mountain like the V8 Supercars. We are set to go in the FAI 1000 Classic here at Mount Panorama, Bathurst for 1998. Set to go. Away! Jason Marguana ducked up into the top three.
Oh, what happened to Longhurst there? Amazing start and then dropped right the way back. It seemed like fifth or sixth position.
Look like he got the jump off the line, but the car really bogged down. He got swamped there, but he's okay. There's no damage on the car, and he'll be breathing a sigh of relief. He survived that turn one intact. Craig Lowndes leads him up the shelf for the first time. The Mitre 10 Ford in second, and Seaton, he's in third in the Ford Credit Falcon.
What about Mark Larkham from fourth up into second? He jumps straight up there. He trails now right in behind Craig Lowndes as they enter the mountain for the first time. You wait to hear the roar and the cheers as they come across. They work their way out of the Strathfield cutting for the first time.
Massive crowd on top of Mount Panorama as this big V8 field winds their way to the top up past Repco. And listen to the reception they give this V8 freight train. Horsepower unleashed on Mount Panorama, the first frantic lap of the FAI 1000 Classic. They weave their way down toward Forest Elbow. It's Craig Lowndes in control in the mobile Holden Racing Team Commodore, and the Mitre 10 Ford of Mark Larkham in second.
So if you do your evaluation as they come on to Conrod, Gardner has jumped up from seventh. It looks like he's in fifth at the moment. The two shell cars have come up, so Dick Johnson has done well. But there it is, Lowndes, Larkham, Seaton, back to Barguana. Gardner in fifth, then Longhurst has dropped from second back to sixth.
Amazing first lap, absolutely carnage-free, quite incredible.
Oh, look at this big attack by the shell forwards as they come down toward the Caltex Chase. They're three wide. Larry Perkins trying to make some moves up. He started in 9th position, but it's important to keep these cars free of damage on this first hectic opening lap.
Talking with Stephen Johnson, son of Dick, said that we have found our speed. We've got some straight line speed back. We didn't do any good in qualifying because we were 25 kilometres an hour down. Dick is on the charge. He's already ahead of Larry Perkins.
A magnificent sight as the V8s hit pit straight for the first time. 160 laps to go. We go on board with Larry Perkins, the reigning Bathurst champion, as he tries to hunt down these Shell Fords and move his way up the pack.
From a standing start, it was a 2 minutes 14 lap from Lowndes. Incredible.
Oh, that is unbelievable. 2:14.9 standing lap. That was a flying race lap here only a few years ago. The V8's getting faster and faster as they begin to conquer this mountain. We can expect lap times in the high 2:11s this morning.
Nothing shakes the mountain like V8 Supercars. This is the FAI 1000, and we are ready to go green. Seconds away. Bouncing off the red limiters. Away we go now. Skate forward, drops on Mark Larkham. Here they come now. A great start by Craig Lowndes on the inside, and Radicic on the outside in the number 18 Shell Helix Ford. Through Hill Corner. A smooth run so far. Radicic got away to a ripper around the outside of Craig Lowndes. They all try and squeeze through. Now the big drag race up Mountain Straight.
Oh, look at that line. It's quite incredible, isn't it?
That's quite an incredible sight. We haven't seen that for many, many years. A full grid at Mount Panorama. It's Paul Radicic, the fast man of the Shell team, who's going to lead them up the hill for the first time. Great start for Shell 18 Ford.
Dick Johnson got away to a great start also in the number 17 Shell Helix Ford as the full field scream up on top of the mountain. Wait till you hear the crowd cheer.
Up through the board cutting for the first time. Looks like a relatively clean start to the race. Everyone knows they've got 161 laps to go. Listen to the fans roar as this big field comes across the top. True it is, nothing shakes the mountain like V8 Supercars. There's 55 of them in battle mode. First lap of the FAI 1000 for 1999. Paul Radicic, classic battle between Ford and Holden as he leads them down to the Forest Elbow for the first time.
We can be proud because this is the best touring car series in the world. There's no doubt about that,
Barry. No doubt about that. Wayne Gardner, there's already a challenge on here. It looks like Mark Scape and the Pertec Ford of Jason Bright as they come thundering down off the hill, off the mountain. Larkin is there still. There's a drag race on here. And Dick Johnson is in the slipstream nicely as well. His teammate Paul Radicic leads the way. Bright will have the inside run through. Challenge chase. This is anxious stuff on the opening lap.
That's
beautifully positioned on the inside.
It's a big cut and thrust for the first lap, isn't it?
Yep, 1,000-kilometre sprint race. I know it's an enduro, but these guys attack it like a championship round. Dick Johnson has a big look down the inside. Not quite close enough.
Very close.
Tucks in behind the Pertec Falcon. But Dick Johnson driving like a man possessed. Not only his last performance at Mount Panorama, but his last performance, the end of a magnificent career. Can DJ bring it home and put this car on the podium?
Glenn Seaton in the first of the Ford Tickford cars is hanging in there as well as they complete the first lap in 2 minutes and 16 from a standing start. Paul Radicic has already built a little margin over Craig Lowndes, and Larkham looking for an inside run. We go on board the Mitre 10 Falcon.
A total of 33,000 horsepower about to be unleashed right here at Bathurst. Who says mountains can't move? This is the FAI 1000. Let's hear the V8's roar.
A long time keeping it.
Bates and Gardner. Gardner gets away, but it's Johnson who's made the better of the start as they work towards Hill Corner for the first time. Mark Scape immediately on the charge, settles into third position, but it's Junior Johnson who leads the field away.
Hopefully everyone's taking a sensible approach to this. They normally do.
Oh, look at this. Back there.
1,000 kilometres to go. They're just squeezing through there. Looks like a nice clean start, a miraculously clean start. As the rain pours down on Mount Panorama, and look at spray here as this field trying to pick their way through the mush.
Gardner,
look at Gardner.
already starting to make a move on Stephen Johnson despite the conditions here, and the drivers trying to find their feet. Johnson a little sideways as they work up towards the cutting for the first time.
Gardner's doing the sensible thing to get through. If he must get through, it's such an advantage to be in the lead.
Wait for the typical V8 reception. on top of Mount Panorama as this field thunders up through the steepest part of the course, a 1 in 6 grade as they climb out of the cutting up towards Reed Park. Hear these crowd roar.
Look at the water running across the circuit there.
Across Skyline, you can see the amount of water lying on the circuit.
See, Gardner's thing was really the back end of Gardner's thing was really aquaplaning.
Down toward Forest Elbow for the first 161 times. Stephen Johnson, 26-year-old Queenslander, son of the great champion Dick Johnson. And he's leading this one. What a fabulous moment for the young Queenslander, the second generation racer.
The worst thing for him is he's the first one to arrive to see whether there's any surface water down here, Cowsey's Chase, and you know, everybody's going to be reading from him. Look at the water here. Right now, this is the next section here on the right-hand side that was catching everybody out in the top 10 shootout. Just here.
Stephen Johnson taking it easy as he comes out of the Auto Bartel Chase. Wayne Gardner in hot pursuit, the pole position man. Shell Ford got the jump on him, but Gardner now, headlights ablaze, sitting in the spray of the Shell number 17 Ford. Mark Scaife in third, Craig Lowndes at the wheel though, taking the start for Holden Racing Team.
There's made a move there, gotten around Mark Larkham, so the Rat keen to try and get up closer to the front of the field. Scaife dropping back just a little bit, I think, to give himself a bit of vision and things like that. Lowndes, of course, it is that's at the wheel, let's not forget that.
So first lap around, Stephen Johnson just over a second ahead of Wayne Gardner, Craig Lowndes in third, then it's Paul Radisich, Mark Larkham, Jason Marquardt in the Valvoline Commodore, Glenn Seaton, Russell Engel in the Castrol Commodore. Miraculous effort that, they've done the engine change and he's running in the top 10. Todd Kelly, Stephen Ellery in the Super Cheap Ford, and Stephen Richards, last year's winner, just hovering outside the top 10.
Let's go to work. The 2001 V8 Supercar 1000 is away and bogging it down. Russell Engel in the middle of the grid. He's gone right back. Fortunately, everyone has avoided him. Now he gets going. Boy, that was breathtaking.
Absolutely breathtaking stuff. He got squeezed up on the curb on the inside of the Gibson Ford. One of his got through cleanly. Boy, he was vulnerable sitting there. He could have been hit very hard in the back, but he managed to get away with it. Dougal McDougall in trouble in the Pepsi Commodore. He hasn't even got off the line.
Coming up the inside, Paul Radisich in the 17 Shell Helix Ford slots in. Then it's Mark Scaife. The second HRT Commodore is up there as well. They sort themselves out. Ritter has dropped a long way back from the grid. He didn't get away to the best of starts either, but Radisich bright. Then it's Scaife. Marcus Ambrose, the pole sitter, followed by John Bowe.
Brilliant start by Glenn Seaton. He leads the thundering pack up the mountain for the first time with the brand new FTR Falcon. The Ford flags are waving there, as you can see as they come out of the cutting up toward Reed Park the first time.
Across the top, Wheel has got away to a very good start. Starting in 15th, he's made his way forward. Ritter has dropped back, but look at this.
Seaton is on it. Look at that. Wow, it's a massive amount of ground to put out in the first half a lap.
Magnificent sight across the top of the mountain as this capacity crowd cheer on the heroes, thundering down the hill for the first time. There's the Gibson Motorsport Falcon, but here's the car that has really been setting the pace all week. Glenn Seaton, he's got the hammer down in the FTR Ford as they head down toward Forest Elbow for the first time.
Stephen Ellery has got away to a good start in the Super Cheap Autos car. Look at this, HRT on the inside. Scaife was trying to put a move on Jason Bright early on, out of the Aussie male elbow, but Bright held that position into Conrod for the first time of 161.
295 kilometres an hour, flat out in sixth gear. The V8 Supercars thunder down Conrod Straight. They come under our camera as they race down toward the chase for the first time.
Look at Wheel. How about that 10 out of 10 to Wheel? He made a great start.
Well, from 15th, he's made his way up to about 7th or 8th. It's a very, very strong start. Tanders battling hard on the opening lap. John Bowe, quite a nifty start as well. They head down.
Listen to the crowd roar. They're absolutely packed in so deep here on pit straight. Watch their heroes come past on this first exciting lap. Marcus Ambrose didn't make the best start, but he's in there in that leading 5.
The 17 Ford was pretty impressive too, from 7th on the grid, from 6th on the grid up into 2nd. And Radisich made very quick work of that. There is Russell Engel forcing his way on the inside of Craig Lowndes on the opening lap. What went wrong at the start for Russell
illegal.
Let the battle begin as we get the green light on the great race. The power builds up and the Bob Jane T-Marts 1000 is underway. A nice clean start. It looks as though Bradley Jones has got the jump. Scapes drop back. Jones will take them through turn one and the Ford Falcon hits the front at Hell Corner. Mark Scaife has gone back at least 3 positions from pole position. What a start from car 21. And look at Stephen Richards in the Castrol Commodore as they bring it up mountain straight for the first time. They start to roar up this incline and they'll take Conacher Bend in a single file. Jones goes through. Richards, then Rick Kelly. Wow, look at that. Mark Scaife has gone all the way back to position number 4. That's an incredible start from Mark Scaife. Really got the wind sucked out of him from the word go.
Great start by Rick Kelly, starting off 6th on the grid. He jumped his way up to 3rd as they come up through Ford Cutting for the first of 161 laps. Marcus Ambrose in there too. 20 Fords, 18 Holdens, and the Aussie Male Falcon with Brad Jones at the wheel has bolted as they come across the mountain for the first time.
Isn't that peculiar too, because the Aussie Male Ford Falcon team has been complaining that they're not getting enough heat into the tyres early on. Well, Brad Jones had the power down and the Ford's nose ready to fly. He did so, and look at the gap that he's just sprung out straight away. It's only the first lap, but he wants to get through it cleanly, and the best way to do that is have nobody in front of you. They come down through the VB dipper. Take aim now at Forest Elbow. Watch him swing wide here.
Oh, look at this. Down the inside goes Mark Scaife on the Holden Young Lions Commodore of Rick Kelly, the Kmart car. But Greg Murphy tries to take advantage. Headlights on as they head on Conrod Straight for the first time. And the Aussie Male Ford has opened up 100 metres on the field as they come over the first rise.
Straight line speed, incredible out of Brad Jones and the Aussie Male Ford Falcon. Take a look at this. They come roaring down Conrod Straight. Line up the chase. Such a difficult part of the circuit. So much speed behind them, so much weight behind them. The cars have to roar down on the brakes. They scream for Blue Mercy. 1 lap just about completed of the Bob Jane T-Marts 1000, and Brad Jones leads them through. Russell Ingle and Stephen Richards entry with Richo behind the wheel. There's Mark Scaife in 3rd position. Rick Kelly is behind him. Greg Murphy is there.
I think we're going to be in for some quick lap times. Brad Jones standing lap at 2:14.1. That's from a standing start. 120 litres of fuel on board. This is going to be a very quick motor race.
And off we go for Australia's greatest race. And Greg Murphy got a good one. So too did Mark Scaife. Right up against the concrete. Off to turn 1. Murphy holds his own. A couple go wide. Mountain Straight is led off by Greg Murphy, but the other Kmart Commodore is hit hard. And that's car 15, Andy Prio and Cameron McLean. That is not our pole sitter. He's already up to Conacher Bend.
Garth Lander got a very good start, but something happened to him at the first corner and he ran wide. Brad Jones moved back up to 3rd, but look at the damage to car 15. That car is out of business for the rest of this day. They may repair it, but substantial damage.
Be careful.
Big problems there for Anthony Prio. Car 13, the Smith's Trucks Commodore, in trouble as well as he limps up toward the cutting.
Well, Cameron McLean had the start in car 15. The guys at the front will not be looking in their mirrors. They are concentrating on Skyline.
Look at Greg Murphy with the hammer down here. He's repeating that qualifying pace, opening up a gap on this first lap. Let's check out the Strathfield replay. What happened to this second Kmart car? Well, did he come into contact with the Smith's Trucks Commodore? Let's have a look at it from another angle.
Tander goes wide. Brad Jones got a big tail slide into that one. Now we get the rear of the field. And a contact there with car 13. And that puts car 15 straight into the concrete barrier.
Racing
Down Conrod Straight to complete lap 1.
Get the thunder here, 292 kilometres an hour.
Wait till you see this standing lap time from Murphy. It's going to be spectacular. Jones is showing good pace early. It looks like he's got good rhythm in the car over the top. He's working away at the back of Jimmy Richards. Andy Prio, well, not a great start to his campaign this year, looking at his teammate in the wall at the exit of turn 1.
They come around to complete the very first lap. Greg Murphy will lead us off with a 2:13.19. Amazing. Jim Richards in second. Bradley Jones down to third. Mark Scaife fourth.
That is a scorching pace at 2:13.1 from a standing start with a full tank of gas. Murphy is going after records here.
The PlayStation 2 race score. Lowndes and Seaton in seventh. Radicic and Rydell in eighth. Johnson ninth. And Stephen Richards and Larry Perkins hold on to 10th position.
Pole position to Richo.
We are racing.
Great race is go. Smoke all up and down the grid as the big V8s roar towards the first corner and head into Mountain Straight, and Richards and Bright almost together. Richards just ahead.
An appalling start from Greg
Oh,
Murphy.
no!
Trouble, big trouble. Jason Bright and Stephen Richards tangle. Paul Dumbrell goes to the lead. They lock horns on the way up Mountain Straight. They're bluing respectively on the radios about each other at the moment. And Ambrose, hungry, looks down the inside at turn 2 on cold tyres.
Ingle prowling behind them. Well, the two men at the front of the grid. Bright very lucky, almost turned around there. Little touch on the right rear of the car. He regathered it, lost a few positions. So did Richards in the tangle.
That was a very scary moment for both those guys, and I don't fully understand at this point how they could get into a position like that with only 400 or 500 metres of racing completed. They're both intelligent, mature racers. They've been around a long time. That's not what they want to get involved in at the opening of the race.
So Ambrose leads them up the mountain. What a climb in more ways than one. Let's have a listen to the crowd. Always a big reception as this massive field lumbers around the top for the first time and files down through the dipper towards Forest Elbow, and then of course the world famous Conrod Straight. Ambrose with a setback, an early engine change in the practice sessions. They've fought hard and now he leads the field after, by his standards, a difficult top 10 shootout performance, and his teammate is right behind him just as they were in the previous round at Sandown.
Well, both these leading Holden guys have just given this in the early stages to the forward runners.
John Bow, what pace!
On the march, he had a good exit off Forest Elbow and just flew straight past Paul Dumbrell. So the net effect with just on 6 kilometres of racing completed is the key Holden guys have completely blown this at the end of the first lap, and they've allowed Marcus Ambrose, Russell Ingall and John Bow to stand all over them. Then it's Stephen Richards now recovering. Then Paul Dumbrell, Paul Morris is in there, and Jason Bright, after starting on the front row of the grid, is back in the pack.
Well, Dumbrell, I'd imagine, would be a little bit nervy at the moment because his teammate was involved in that tangle that he was involved in. There was no way Dumbrell was going to make it too difficult for Richo to get past.
And here is your pole man. The V8 Supercars are ready to rock the mountain. Bathurst is away. And a great start from our pole man, Craig Lowndes. Ambrose goes with him there side to side. Remember, they came in contact in New Zealand. But it's a clean turn one. We've got an incident at the back. Someone is into the wall on the start straight.
It was heavy contact, and Garth Tander made a shocker as well. He got buried on the run to turn 1. He went absolutely backwards after starting so strongly in qualifying.
Lowndes, Ambrose, Scaife, Murphy, Richards. And Russell Ingall has made a great start, dives forward. Now he's wrestling with Jamie Whincup, side by side through Cat Corner as they climb the mountain for the first time.
Craig must have had a massive throttle percentage going at the start because he made sure he had tons and tons of wheel spin to make sure the car did not bog down, and he got a great launch away to head them up Mountain Straight for the first time.
Good start, McConville. He's away nicely. Right there with Whincup. Replay of the start. Where is that contact?
It's further back. Here we go.
That was Mark Noske. Mark Noske into the wall. Meanwhile, let's get back to it. They cross the mountain for the first time. Lowndes, Ambrose and Scaife.
Big loser from that off row 3 was Garth Tander. The rest of them are pretty much intact. Scaife's taken the opportunity to sneak ahead of Murphy. Richards hooked in behind as they come off the elbow for the first time. A chance to just relax now, have a glimpse in the mirror, see who you're fighting, get a feel for your motor car and start to knuckle down. The tyres will now have come up to temperature and pressure, if not very close to it.
Solid start too from Glenn Seaton. Murphy challenging Scaife already. Almost side by side through the chase on lap 1. He's got him. Murphy on the inside of Scaife.
Very aggressive, very early for Greg Murphy. Scaife doesn't argue, leaves room. They go back to grid order now.
And Richards is looking for an avenue. Scaife knows it. Defends into Murray's for the first time. Lap 1 over and done with. Lowndes leads the way from Ambrose. Almost a second lead after the first lap. The Super Cheap Auto 1000 is on, and Bright got a brilliant start. Scaife has bogged it down and he has been swamped. Scaife has lost 10 positions as Bright leads them into turn 1. Great start, Jason Richards, and Craig Lowndes is up to 3rd.
Mark just sat there, so he either just chug-a-lugged away from the line or he might have even had a little bit of a clutch slip. He's still going back through the field.
They came from everywhere, and look at Lowndes, forceful on the inside. He wants Richards' spot, he won't get it. It's Bright, Jason Richards, Lowndes, then Greg Murphy and Stephen Richards arguing over the same piece of turf. Then Dean Canto's in there behind Russell Ingall, and Seaton in the top 10 as well. Scaife is in the wall. Scaife's day is done. Mark Scaife has hit the wall.
Wow. There's been something happen.
Get up the arse like you could not believe.
Something's happened in the braking area going into turn 2 at the top of Mountain Straight. This will trigger a safety car. He's been hit aggressively from behind. Massive damage to the car. His day is done in not much more than about 30 seconds of racing.
It was a... Oh, and it's... Look, it's the 11. It's the young man, Jack Perkins. And Shane Price in the Jack Daniels Commodore.
What a heartbreak for these guys. So much work goes into this motor race.
Greg.
Well, the pictures tell the story. The damage is massive. Garth Tander, how do you feel?
Gutted, mate. As simple as that. You know, to be over in less than 100 metres, it's devastating. We had a really, really strong car, and yeah, can't believe it.
Is it clear? I mean, listening to the radio transmissions, it's maybe not clear from what Mark said about who the contact may have come from. Do you think it's the Perkins car?
No, I mean, he didn't say. He just said he got hit from behind, and that was it. And that's all he said on the radio. And then we just see on the pictures the front of the car is stuffed. So, yeah, pretty gutting.
Hard luck, Garth. You've had a weapon car all week, and it was looking like the team to beat.
Yeah, not this year. Doesn't look like it, does it? Next year, mate.
Thanks, Garth.
Here we go. See, still cruising up here. So they already had a problem, and you get, hit very hard from behind. Massively hard from behind, and it's fired in first into the left wall, then to the right. But the car had no pace, and you could hear it free revving at that point. I think he had a slipping clutch, just as a guess. There's the initial impact. That's where all the damage is done. And then it just dribbles across the road.
And he was hit by the all-rookie car of Jack Perkins and Shane Price.
The revs are building for the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000. The mountain is calling again. And off we go in 2007. A great start by Stephen Richards. He'll take the lead to turn 1. Scaife slots into second position. It's been clean for the front runners. Around Hell Corner, here they all come. And up Mountain Straight, and the other guys out of pit lane come and join them. And it appears as though we got a problem for one of the cars halfway up Mountain Straight, pulling back and back and back.
This is where the oil is on the exit of turn 2. Steve Owen also started from pit lane. Cam McConville's car's off to the outside. That's so awkwardly parked there. I can't believe the race was started with that car there, frankly.
They've done it. They've got past it once. Now through the cutting. Extraordinary amount of drama before the wheels even started turning in anger. No time to take a breath. Now the top of the mountain.
Safety car's going to be deployed. So I think what the race directors determined to do was get the race started and then bring the race under control. And now they'll grab that car. And I was holding my breath looking at it because I've seen plenty of people step to the wrong side of that ripple strip, especially given there's oil there. So fortunately, we got through the opening lap, and this is a deliberate ploy to now bring the field under control and get that car out of the way. Bad start for Mark Scaife, it looked like. I think he had a second punch of the clutch to get the thing away, but Stephen Richards looked good on cold tyres immediately.
Scaife saved it. He pulled it together, though. But realistically, what did they get? 3/4 of a lap done before the safety car flags and the boards were displayed. No doubt, Neil, that they're going to have to remove that car before they get it underway. The Zinger replay will show you. Look at all the mess going on at the mid pack. But out in front, Stephen Richards just had a beautiful start and a good save by Scaife. So now car 50 stuck in the most dangerous position at turn 2. The Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000 of 08. Hold on, because there's no holding back, but Garth Tander's not going anywhere. Disaster for car number 1 off the start grid. He's still stuck. Stephen Richards goes off in the distance at turn 1, and now Tander gets it moving.
It's got a clutch problem, I think. I just heard Tander in the background. What a disastrous start. 90 kilos of fuel over the rear. It's away now. Oh, Biff and Barge up into turn 2.
Between Lowndes and Greg Murphy. Murphy made a great start. He made up ground. But then they've come side by side.
Tallest gearing that's run anywhere in the country at this race. And if the tyres are too hot at the rear and you don't get that timing perfect off the line, that's exactly what can happen. So Tander goes from the front to the very back of the field.
Just confirming, clutch slip off the line for the HRT car as first thought.
First time over the top of the mountain. Up to McPhillamy. 210 kilometres an hour. Now down the mountain we go. Through the dipper. Forest elbow. Stephen Richards keeps it clean. Points the nose of car number 6 down Conrod Straight and lets loose. .295 kilometres an hour, edging towards 300 for the chase. Ripple strip on the left, back to the right. On board with Courtney, under the bridge.
It's a healthy margin for Stephen Richards at the end of lap 1.
Murray's corner, and the first of 161 is done. A standing time of 2 minutes 13.7 for Stephen Richards. Let's see where Tander crosses. He's crossed in 24th position. How do you like that? No other time like this time at Mount Panorama. Is this history in the making? Lowndes has to slide it around. Stephen Richards wants to thread the needle. It's an all-forward attack up to turn 1. Car 25. The Fujitsu car has been spun around. We knew something was going to happen. It's too slippery to stay on that track, and the Jim Beam racer has to come back on and rejoin.
They'll have trouble getting that car out. They'll have trouble getting it out.
Stephen Richards has taken the advantage from 3rd to 1st up to turn 2. The right-hander. Davison slots into 2nd. Lowndes.
Control safety car standing by.
There'll be almost certain there'll be a safety car intervention here. Good start, Paul Dumbrell. Davison takes the ascendancy again up on the outside, the run to the cutting. Got a very good run out of turn 2.
So the pole-sitting car gets it back in front as they begin the climb through the cutting.
Safety car boards and flags.
Safety cars being deployed. I knew that had happened. We've also got no computer timing at the moment. So good job, Will Davison.
initial jump looked like he got tons of wheel spin, just sat there. Now they've got him sorted, but damage on that car of Jason Bright's. What a shame for him, because they've had some terrific pace in that car in the recent past.
And Craig Lowndes was true to his word. He knew that it was going to be slippery at the start. He literally had to burn it up. Jason Bright now trundles back towards pit lane. And the 4X Gold Pettis safety car is sitting waiting to collect the leaders and take them around.
Almost looked like a 3-into-1 there with Jason Richards. Fabian Coulthard was on the very inside in the Wilson T. McGrath Falcon, but the important thing for Jason Bright is still on the lead lap. Let's have a look at it again. Jason Richards on the third row of the grid, the white Commodore.
The key point here at the very start was Lowndes getting stuck out wide. Stephen Richards made a very gutsy move. Now watch the green car. Keep your eyes on the green car up ahead. He's caught just on the inside and a little bit too wide, and like you said, Aaron, bingo.
I'm not sure whether, in fact, he got helped or what the story was there. We'll see whether the other angle reveals what happened for the Team BOC car. It was a tardy start for Cam McConville. He got swamped. Focusing on Jason Bright here. He's up on the outside. Keep your eyes on the green car. Just turning in for turn one now. Yeah, I think I reckon there's been contact there.
How's about the start, though, from Paul Dumbrell from 8th to 4th? Safety car, we didn't even get one lap underway. Back with more in just a moment.
So Winterbottom is on pole. Scaife next to him. It's a classic Ford versus Holden. We're underway in the 2010 Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000, and Winterbottom will take control into the first turn.
And Mark quickly slotted into second. Mark Scaife, that is. Winterbottom was able to get a great jump and covered, so Scaife would be reasonably comfortable to slot in behind, but it's on here for third.
And a great effort from Will Davison in car 22. He's putting big pressure on Lee Holdsworth. Up to turn 2 for the first time.
You'll have to yield when you're on the outside at 2 on cold tyres, which he does. Drops into 4th. Then Whincup. Little margin for Winterbottom. No rash moves early on.
So Winterbottom, Scaife, Holdsworth, Davison, Whincup.
Cam McConville's gone backwards in the field.
And Greg Murphy's gone forward from 9th to 6th. First time around the top of the mountain, the crowd lets them know. Down they come.
Conville's back in the midfield, so when he dropped the clutch, he must have got swamped. So it's about 4 or 5 car lengths, Winterbottom to Scaife on the run-down Conrod on the first occasion. The little battle for third is resolved in favour of Lee Holdsworth for the time being. Good decision by Will Davison not to force the point on the outside at turn 2. That was Bargwana. That was Bargwana. Had a huge moment. It's rolled.
That's a Bundy car.
No, it's not. I'm sorry.
Oh, my goodness. One of the Bundaberg Red races has gone over. And that is an almighty crash.
Yeah, so apologies. I've called that wrong. But that's going to bring out the safety car, and that was a shocker. Can't work out which one it is at this point.
It's 24. It's Fabian Coulthard.
Driver is out. Just stand by, safety car.
Safety car standing by.
Well, it's very pleasing that he's been able to get out of that car and walk away. That was, I saw it flick sideways on the curb cam, on the cold tyres, and
A safety car just moved out of
car number 34 is also in the pit lane. So Caruso coming in. That'll be the biggest moment that Fabian's ever had in a race car. That was shocking.
My goodness. Now watch this on the Zinger replay. So it goes into the sand trap sideways. There's only one way to go for that car carrying that amount of speed, and there's mess everywhere. I mean, that car has just disintegrated. But the roll cage has done the job because Fabian has jumped out without a scratch on him. Watch this.
Both those cars were line astern. Apologies for the wrong call, but that was a monster moment. Look at this. I think he's ended up on the grass out there as he's turned it in, and off it's gone. Just illustrates the pace. Look, it's just an explosion. And nothing left of it as Fabian gets out. Remember, it's got 120 litres of fuel on at that point. That's a sickening sight. Here it is again.
Just on the bottom left of screen, just stepped out.
I reckon the tyres would go. If we go back to the very beginning of that replay, the left rear tyre has done something bizarre there, right at the point of load.
The other Bundy Red car was right behind him.
Focus, when we get the replay up, focus carefully on the left rear tyre. Just as he turns in, he heads out onto the apron. And well, the camera works. That's about all it is working in there at the moment. That's, watch carefully, left rear tyre. It's the preceding Bundy car.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely something's failed there.
Of all the places.
He's actually still on the road surface at that point, so I thought to begin with it might have happened on the grass, but that's not the case.
This is what it's all about, and away we go. Car 4 darts out. Murphy's going to have to defend his way up to Hell Corner because Mark Scaife was very aggressive out of the box.
Stephen Richards had problem getting off the line. Alex Davison quickly had to jump to the right. Murphy a good start. Scaife is going to argue with Will Davison all the way on the run up to turn 2. Mountain straight for the first time. Will's got the inside running, which is the ideal line. And Mark will yield and try and tuck. He doesn't want to lose another spot to car number 2 here.
Well, the Holden Racing team really putting pressure on Mark Scaife. James Courtney behind the wheel, but its position's normal through the cutting for the first time. The big high elevation begins. Up to the top of the mountain they go. Murphy leads the way. Will Davison, then Mark Scaife, James Courtney, Paul Morris.
There was a little bit of contact on the run up to the cutting. And it was Thompson and Tander that just rubbed panels briefly. Look at the margin for Murphy. He's bolted in the Pepsi Max crew entry. Will's just eased the gap now. Courtney is blow-torching Scaife. They've all got full fuel. They've all got cold tyres that have yet to come up to pressure.
Through the S's, down to the Dipper and Forest Elbow. And Murph has just skipped away straight up. He had to fight at the very start, but he's done this mountain so many times, he's got off to a flyer. Maximum speed down Conrod Straight. A bit of a headwind into them this time, at 300 kilometres an hour. Into the chase they go. One of the greatest sights in Australian motorsport. Lock up on approach for Jana Living Racing.
It was Bargwana in the orange car, had a little lock up. The car was unsettled as he braked it. Look at Alex Davison aggressively looking down the inside here of Lee Holdsworth. End of lap 1. It's a 1.2 second margin for Greg Murphy over Will Davison. Then it is Mark Scaife, James Courtney, Paul Morris, a good start. Van Gisbergen, David Reynolds, Andrew Thompson, Garth Tander, Dean Canto. That's your 10, and just outside is Lee Holdsworth.
2 out of pit lane. This is it. 50 years in the making. And here at Mount Panorama, the legend now continues. Will Davison gets a good start, but Paul Dumbrell has outpaced him. And Dumbrell is going to go side by side with his mate into turn 1. Dumbrell hung out wide at Hell Corner. They're still battling it as they take it up to Mountain Straight. Shane Van Gisbergen tucks in behind them. This is going to be interesting at turn 2. Who will yield? Who will want to push? Who will take the lead of the great race? after just 2 turns. Davison, the pole sitter, on the outside. Dumbrell on the inside in the championship leading car.
That's an awkward place to be on the outside at 2, but it makes an ideal positioning now on the run to the cutting. And so down the inside goes Will Davison. Dumbrell left room high and wide in turn 1, just in case he was there to avoid contact. But that's a nice move, a decisive move early by Will Davison. Well done.
That was very brave. Around the outside at turn 2 was not a normal spot to be. And he got it done. He was on the inside for the cutting, and he's pressing on the first lap. The best start of all the top 10 guys was Fabian Coulthard. He got a ripping start. He's in 4th spot behind Van Gisbergen.
Top of the mountain, McPhillamy Park, over Skyline. 225 Ks on approach up here before the mountain falls away through the S's.
Remember, they've got cold tyres, they've got cold brakes, they've got a full fuel load. They've got to be very careful on this first lap. Gizzy
on the inside of Dumbrell, so Van Gisbergen moves up a spot. The Fords lead the way. Will Davison first, Shane Van Gisbergen second. You're riding with Paul Dumbrell. Behind him is Fabian Coulthard, up towards 300 kilometres an hour on approach into the chase. You watch this.
Drivers know. That they have a limited opportunity to pull a move early, because this then sets the tone for the first stint. So in the next couple of laps, things settle down. So if you see an opportunity, oh, Tanny, you don't want to be on the dirty stuff down there. So Garth tucks back in onto the clean line. So the order at the end of lap 1 of 161 is Will Davison, Shane Van Gisbergen, Paul Dumbrell, Fabian Coulthard, Garth Tander, Slade, Winterbottom, Reynolds, Luff and Bright now in the 10. Look at the gap.
1,000 kilometres to glory, and off they go in the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000 of 2013. Dumbrell flies ahead to turn 1. Most of them got through cleanly, yes they did. And the other 2 cars will now join them from pit lane.
That was unbelievable. Scott McLaughlin was down the grass. He went round the outside of Bluff. They were 3 abreast at Hill Corner.
The biggest loser is Mark Winterbottom, car 5. There he is. Remember, he started from the front row of the grid. Look at Garth Tander on the inside of Griffin's Bend. So Dumbrell, Jason Bright, Shane Van Gisbergen, Greg Murphy tucked in behind him, up through the cutting.
That Botlow car was so close to ending up in the fence at turn 2, then way out in the dirt on cold tyres.
They've done a magnificent job to be so close, 3 abreast in some spots and not crash.
First time at the top of the mountain. The roar goes up at McPhillamy. That's the view from Skyline. Look at the wind picking up. And now the descent starts.
This is another great display from Paul Dumbrell. Stepped out of the car here last year as a winner. Went to the Sandown 500 after nearly 1 year away. Big lock up there for Luff at Forest Elbow. Came back a winner and has jumped off the line perfectly. They couldn't ask for more down at Red Bull at the moment.
And here comes one of the greatest sights in Australian motorsport. Conrod straight to the chase. Approaching 300 kilometres per hour. So Dumbrell pulling away from them early. Botlow entry. Davey Reynolds trying to make up room straight away as much as he can.
McLaughlin had a big, long, hard think then about whether or not he would have a crack at Murphy. This is the battle between Ritter in 34 and Tander in 2. Remember that Greg Ritter only drives a couple of times a year. He's looking to do some ute racing next year to try and build some more Ks. But he's another guy that does a master job with very few kilometres.
Young Scott McLaughlin's pressing on pretty hard here, trying to get by Murphy. He had a little dive at the chase. He had a little look again at Hell Corner, and he wants to get on with it.
The Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1,161 laps, 1,000 kilometres of Mount Panorama. A problem at the start. Look at McLaughlin up the inside. The Volvo, a ripping start. Winterbottom to the outside. Van Gisbergen drops 2 spots before he gets to turn 1. Out wide on the outside was car 222 back in about 10th. But it is a storming start here for McLaughlin, who's already got a car length on them. Van Gisbergen trying to recover as they go up to turn 2 for the first time. Can Gizzy do this on cold tyres? He drops back in with Lowndes behind in 4th.
Well done, Shane Van Gisbergen. That was quite a smart move, but what a start for McLaughlin. And a good move also from Steve Richards there, just to sneak in and lob that car of Craig Lowndes into a competitive spot early. Dale Wood in 5th. That's also a good start with young Moffat right behind. Good job. James Courtney's made ground. That's a good start from James. There was a couple of guys that really balked at the start there. This is on board now with Whincup. This great shot from the left-hand mudguard as he sneaks up the inside before you get to the top of the hill.
Oh, big moment for Richards. Oh. Cold tyres over the top of the hill, pushed wide over the jump there at McPhillamy.
Wow, I said that was a conservative one for Steve at turn 2, and I thought that was very good placement of the car, but that's not good placement. That was a big moment.
Caruso having a peep up the inside. Car number 18, Jack Perkins at the helm. Remember, those cars that have got the green light switched on in behind the windscreen have got the co-drivers on board. It is McLaughlin building towards 300 kilometres an hour that leads the field. Winterbottom and Van Gisbergen, pressure between them. Then it's Richards, a big moment for him. Look at Whincup, he's not messing about. A bit of hip and shoulder with car number 34. Greg Ritter is in that car at the moment.
Great job, mate. Use your bars if you've got that entry switch, mate.
Richard Holway, engineer for the man that leads the race. At the end of the first of 161 laps, it is Scott McLaughlin with 0.6 of a second over Mark Winterbottom, then Van Gisbergen, the pole sitter, then Stephen Richards. Next in the queue, Dale Wood, then James Moffat, James Courtney, Fabian Coulthard, Nick Percat, car 222, who got a bit of a shove at turn 1 on lap 1. Then Todd Kelly, car 7, in position 10, despite the scare pre-start.
We are set for a start here. They unleash those V8 dramas for car 8. The VOC entry almost stalls. There's congestion there as everyone tries to find a way around. Nice jump by the pole sitter. The Bottle entry away beautifully, and so is the Volvo. But look at the chaos behind them. Jason Bright had dramas getting off the line. Canto's away nicely. So is Scott McLaughlin.
1 point they were 4 wide into turn 1. Scott Pye had a little bit of light contact in there. Bright went nowhere. Remember, the gearing is taller in 2015. They've got 88 kilos, full fuel on board at the moment. A good jump by Reynolds. It was a tardy start for Scotty McLaughlin, and Lee Holdsworth has got away well with Van Gisbergen hot behind him at the moment.
Tim Slade, then Fabian Coulthard into the cutting for the first time. Over the top to the applause, the greeting of the fans that have gathered. Listen to the tyres.
This opening lap, the cars always feel a little bit odd. They feel lazy. The grip's not there yet. The brakes aren't quite there yet. The fuel is full. And it's never quite like you remember the way in which you drove the car earlier in the weekend when everything was about peak speed. McLaughlin thought about it. It was a good run down the hill for Scott and the Volvo. He just offered up the nose at the elbow.
Couple of improvers in this early stage. Will Davison is into the 10 from 11th. He's up into 8th place, and Craig Lowndes is knocking on the door of the 10. He's in 11th spot. Scott Pye is 10th. The chopper follows them down Conrod Straight. The Volvo in the tow. Oh, Gizzy having a look. Does he sneak up the inside of Holdsworth at the chase? Sideways, bounces it off the curbs. Can't complete the mission just yet.
It's awkward. So he had to squeeze up on the curbing, and McLaughlin's racy as well. He's having a bit of a sniff here for the second time in the opening lap. is Richard Canto. I'm showing Canto up here on the screen. Followed by McLaughlin, Holdsworth, Van Gisbergen.
Still coming up, so just get into your ribbon there, mate. Oh, it's cool.
27 cars, 54 drivers. It's a Holden and a Volvo on row 1. All Ford row number 2. Stand by. The Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000. The 2016 edition erupts, and it's a great start for Whincup. McLaughlin runs with him, and Mostert drops into third as they round turn 1 pretty cleanly.
Beautiful start from Garth Tander around the outside, and it's I thought Mostert was going to bump the back of McLaughlin there, but McLaughlin just edges up on Whincup. It's lively at the front. It always happens. 1,000 kilometres, but the red mist descends in the opening lap. Tander down the outside of Fabian Coulthard. Wow, I thought they were all going to rub each other up mountain straight on lap 1.
Whincup, McLaughlin, Mostert, Coulthard, Tander. Nothing between the top 3, and Van Gisbergen has a sneak up the inside on Caruso. Didn't get it done. Hard to do there unless you're cleanly up the inside. Top of the hill, cold tyres, cold brakes, cold mines. What's the grip level? How's the balance? Can you get on with it? It takes a little while for brake temperatures and tyre pressures to normalise, and the crowd's loving it. Look at the cheers. Sorry, look at the applause. Listen to the cheers in the background. He's got a little margin off the top of the hill. Whincup, he just skipped away by about half a car length right at the peak of the hill. So he's covered himself nicely so that he's not under threat on Conrod Straight.
It'll be interesting to see what the strategy is here, because you can conserve fuel by being in the tow. So when you park in the slipstream of the car in front, you can actually come off the throttle and maintain the position of the car. So fuel conservation being so important today, it may be smart at 300 kilometres an hour right there at the chase, just to park in behind, and you get a yield from that.
So it's officially 1/10 of a second. Now it's moved out to 2. Caruso has a look on the inside of Tander, but now Van Gisbergen down the inside of Caruso, and he's going to make this one stick. Michael gets muscled up high. Slade goes down the inside.
That was pretty cheeky with Van Gisbergen there, because he come from the blind side. He come from the outside. Michael wouldn't have known he was there until right at the death knock. And it was a pretty bold move, because often you have contact. If you can't see the guy get down the inside, you will make contact. Now, McLaughlin's got to run. He's got to run on Whincup. Will he dive? Will he dive down there? No, he doesn't.
The 2017 great race, the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000 is go. They crawl away from the line. Winterbottom tries to split. They make contact. Watch Mostert on the inside. McLaughlin leads just. Mostert forces his way up to second. Reynolds is on the outside. Watch out for the ripple strips. They're painted and slippery.
Those ripple strips on the outside there are like ice. That was wild there when Winterbottom went between Reynolds and McLaughlin. They all bumped. There might be steering damage out of that straight away. Have a look at the spray. It's only just started to rain, and that little bit of drizzle has made it like ice. Reynolds down the inside of Mostert. McLaughlin prevails to turn 2.
McLaughlin. Van Gisbergen covers up the inside on the exit of 2. Mostert looks speedy at the moment. He is now cleanly up the inside of Reynolds. Tyre power cutting. Great illustration of the gradient here. 1 in 6. Shell V Power Racing leads. The Super Cheap Falcon 1 and 2. The Erebus Penrite car Reynolds third. That's Winterbottom. Garth Tander looks quick at the moment. He's moving on up. Then both the Red Bull cars align astern. The high-intensity rain lights are on. All primary drivers, and it is crazy slippery.
Tander and Whincup have both gained 4 spots in the opening half a lap. Great job by Garth, who's now there in 5th. And you can see Jamie Whincup coming from 11th, right in behind his teammate Van Gisbergen. This is one of the most slippery and delicate spots of the whole racetrack. You've got to be very, very careful as you approach the dipper. You can see the knife edge approach. this is also a pretty wild spot because you've got to make the exit nice. Look for everybody trying to straighten the cars up and minimise the wheel spin onto Conrod. On board now with James Courtney.
Not a lot of risk-taking happening out there at the moment. They're all just very gently exploring the top of the mountain. The cars still get back very close to their peak speeds on the straight. They just don't do it for as long. So it's still very close to 300 kilometres an hour down there. And the wet tyres howl on the road. A move down the inside and off goes Tanner. He's run wide. Van Gisbergen gets up there 3 wide in the chase. Shades of lap 150 last year, but they sort it out and get back to line astern.
Ooh, that was a big moment then. Moss has taken ground off the leader, off McLaughlin also. So Jamie Whitcup just covers Garth Tander. Now he runs a little bit wide, gets a little bit of a bump. Now Garth's going to try to position the car down the inside of Jamie at turn 1, and he gets that done.
He's boxing him. He's boxed him in and trapped him in behind Frosty. So Tander made a mistake at the bottom of the chase, understeered wide. So Frosty's having a battle here at the moment. Whincup looks like he's got some pace, and Tander's now got some clear air to work in. The problem for Whincup, he's going to be on the outside at turn 2 unless he can cleanly outbrake his old rival.
And comparing the conditions through the week where the cars have been stiff, they've had low aero, all the things, here's a little bit of a bump there between Winterbottom and Whincup. Remember, what was the year when you said, hold your breath, Australia? They had a magnificent contest, didn't they, those two guys?
Who will the mountain choose today? Conversion off the line is done very nicely by Reynolds. He's got the whole shot. He's followed by his teammate. Di Pasquale's going to make it a Penrite and Erebus 1-2 into the first corner.
What a beautiful start by David Reynolds. Able to get the car away. That's the most difficult start of the year. Long diff ratios. Weird grip level for the start of this one, and he got away nicely. So did the young bloke, Anton Di Pasquale. Looking back at the battle now with Rick Kelly as they emerge into the braking area. Around the outside was Van Gisbergen on Whincup. He got away with it. That's a bold move.
So Whincup bogged down a little at the start. Di Pasquale got a ripping start, and he's right there with Reynolds. Wild move. Oh, a little bobble for LeBrock in the background in car number 19 through turn 3, the blind left-hander at the rock face. Cars are fat with fuel. They've got just under 90 kilos of Shell Racing fuel on them. Brakes are cold, tyres are cold, mines are cold. And here's our race leader. That's 0.6 of a second, Reynolds over Di Pasquale.
And as the fans rejoice, Commodore's leading. Everyone down in the Erebus pit will be absolutely overjoyed with that start from their two chargers. Reynolds, Di Pasquale, Van Gisbergen, Whincup, Tander, McLaughlin, Courtney, Lowndes, Percat, Waters. That's the 10 as they come out of Forest Elbow onto Conrod for the very first time today.
Garth Tander has made a miracle start. There he is, car number 33, Wilson Security, Holden Commodore. He's up to 5th, he's right behind Whincup.
Up 5 spots.
Riding with McLaughlin. Scott's in 6th. So did Tander launch off the line strongly, or was there congestion up at turns 1 and 2?
A little bit of both. So he got a really good start. He made some ground at the first corner, and then he positioned himself nicely up Mountain Straight. So it was a very tradesman-like start. You expect that from Garth Tander as we get our first look at Better Camcat. Up the start pretty straight, and look at the fans. This is what we love. How's that for an arena?
So it's McLaughlin, front row of the grid, alongside him, Mostert, much like we've seen for the rest of the championship. Kostecki at the end of the pit lane. Row number 2, position number 3, it's Michael Caruso. Alongside him is Craig Lowndes. It's a supreme test for team, machine and driver. The Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000, 59th running of the great race. The Battle of Bathurst ignites again. Beautiful start by McLaughlin. Waters perfectly up the inside. Correction, make that Caruso. So Caruso's done a nice job to launch off the line. The tallest diffs in the car make them hard to get away. Different drop gear than any other event that we go to. So with all the fuel on board and the tall gearing, getting them away is a challenge in itself.
Mostert was actually compromised in the middle of turn 1 with Caruso. Caruso got the best jump of the first 3 cars. In fact, he had nowhere to go because he was blocked by McLaughlin. 2 Red Bull Holden Racing Team's cars are split by Percat as you turn into the cutting. Reasonably sane opening 1 kilometre. Oh no, say that, and in the fence. In the fence for car 14. Over the rise, in the slide, and Tim Slade in the fence on the opening lap. And a lot of damage. I was just saying that everybody was quite contained. I don't know whether he got a bump or not, but that car has hit the fence hard on the way out of the cutting.
We've already had some trauma this week in that garage with Macaulay Jones making contact with the wall up at the cutting. And no sooner than you'd said not a bad clean start, which was my thought as well. We look up and Tim Slade, who's in the Freightliner Racing entry, has made very heavy contact with the concrete wall. So our first safety car and the Vodafone medical car's also gone out straight away. He'll be okay. But I saw Brad very early this morning, and it's already been a challenging week. And he was pretty frustrated before proceedings had even started this morning. They've not been able to quite get these cars where they need to be in dry conditions. They were very strong in the wet, which earned them a spot in the top 10 for 2 of their cars. And fuel saving will be the order of the exercise here. So just watching where Tim sits in the field here.
Oh, he had a little bump. There's a little wheel-to-wheel bump. It's one of the Walkinshaw cars. Who's the lead Walkinshaw car? It might have been Scott Pye.
Well, it was car number 2.
I don't know.
But whether there was contact, I can't establish it. And Scott is in that car at the moment. So cold tyres, heavy fuel. Maybe here's a bit more of it. This is out of the cutting, second gear. Scott's to the inside.
Yep.
He's bounced. Did Scott catch a bit of curbing?
I think so, but that's just a racing incident. There's no intention there at all. Cold tyres, cars are sliding around, always traction limited in that zone. Tim was around the outside. The back of Scott's car slid, and then it got the front of Tim's car, and probably wrong spot, wrong time is the best way. Now, this is already the strategy unfolding, because you might as well do this. Come in and put some extra pace and juice in so that you're out of kilter with the rest of the field. This is smart.
We're just having that issue. You'll be right when you drop.
Holdsworth, Jones, LeBrock and Hinchcliffe using the opportunity to take fuel.
We're just changing it out.
And tick off one of the compulsory stops.
Why would they change tyres?
Fuel's done.
Why would you change tyres?
I have no idea. I don't know how to answer that one.
Hey, right when you drop. Go, go, go.
And it's stalled.
God.
There's no cost because the safety car's out, so you get the time back. But yeah, good question. I'm not sure how to answer that one. We're in the midst of one of the toughest periods here and around the world in modern history. But today, we briefly push aside those troubles to celebrate. Celebrate commercial prowess, engineering, courage and supreme skill. To succeed at Bathurst, the desire to win must be greater than the fear of losing. This is the 2020 Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000. Great start by McLaughlin, who drops into position over Davison. McLaughlin holds sway as they make their run up Mountain Straight for the first time, and somebody had trouble on the grid.
They did. You can see the flags there. It looked like they were going to stall. I couldn't quite pick who it was, but a very nice getaway for Scott McLaughlin. He's just weaving it now as he comes up the hill to get some tyre temperature. This is a really difficult corner on the opening lap because you arrive so fast, the tyres are cold, and you've got to give it a healthy level of respect.
Nice conditions out there at the moment, Mark. The temperature's 16 degrees. It's a light breeze from the southwest as we make the cold tyre run through turn 3, the blind approach into the cutting. We've seen people make dives on the inside here in years gone by, and it typically ends poorly in the opening lap. McLaughlin's got a margin at the moment. It's 1/3 of a second over Will Davison. Anton Di Pasquale in third. Tander's got away nicely in car 97 for Red Bull, followed by Courtney Luff, Caruso, Lowndes, Randall, and then we've got Dean Fiore in position number 10. Nice clean start for the first half of the lap. They'll slowly begin to bring temperature up in brakes. They'll bring the tempered pressures up in those tyres, and the cars will begin to feel more secure.
Remember, that green light denotes the co-driver on board. So the leading co-driver is Davison, currently second. McLaughlin, Davison, Di Pasquale, Tander, Courtney, Luff, Caruso, Lowndes, Randall, Fiore. That's the 10.
Forest elbow, a chance to relax. Look around, who are you racing? What position am I in? What can I do to try and get myself a critical position or two early in the game? How's this for a battle? Oh, you're getting the slipstream effect, but there is nowhere to go. Oh, that was so close for Will Brown.
I don't want to do that on the opening lap.
No, thank you. No, there's a couple of greybeards in here that took a step back when all that was going on. So McLaughlin's got 1.1 seconds over Davison. This battle continues. Will Brown just got on the cover there as they made their run. James Moffat is the one that's got the big move coming up the inside. He'll get him here with that exit speed. So James Moffat, who's been on the podium here in 2014, makes a great exit on pit straight and grabs that spot.
Macaulay Jones' door open again.
Oh, no.
It is.
Brad Jones.
It is. Oh, my God. All weekend it's haunted them.
He will rip that off and throw it over the back of the mountain.
Seriously, I mean, we had a little bit of fun with it early in the weekend, but that's just unbelievable.
They've tried a lot of things to fix that. It's got more magnets at the top of the door frame, and they put a huge effort into trying to change the aero impact on what was going on with pressure building in the cabin. Can you believe it? So Macaulay Jones is in the car at the moment. He's being assaulted by Rick Kelly. These fellas are in position 16 and 17 in the race at the moment. And there it is. I mean, he'll end up with a mechanical black flag. They'll have to bring that in and address it.
This is a cruel game, really. This is such a cruel sport.
And the confirmation from Motorsport Australia, race control, that the mechanical black flag is now being shown to car number 3. So Macaulay Jones is going to have to bring that car in. Sensors are set to extreme for the most important start of the year. The Repco Bathurst 1000. And a great start for car number 11. D'Alberto's got away beautifully at the start of the great race. Up the inside comes Holdsworth. D'Alberto's done a beautiful job to launch that car with 88 kilos of heavy fuel, cold tyres and a lot to manage getting off the line.
The best start was Garth Tander. He flicked to the left, he went down the inside of James Moffat, and he almost got right down the inside of Holdsworth. He's currently third. He was able to walk car 888 off the line perfectly.
Turn 2, cold tyres. You need to try and make ground, but not be too greedy. Turn 3, blind approach past the rock face, into the left-hander in the cutting. Very easy to lock a brake while those tyres are cold on the run through here. The wall cam gives you an indication of the 1 in 6 gradient popping out the other side now. Holdsworth is running with D'Alberto as they grab 4th gear and make the run over the top of the hill. Even with the cold tyres, they're still hovering just under 200 kilometres an hour over the top. Through metal grey, parallel to the fence on the run to McPhillamy, and the top 2 have skipped away ever so slightly. Tander in 3rd spot. Then it's Davison, Slade, Wood, Best, Russell, Moffat, and forward the top 10. Clean first half of the first lap.
And Moffat's been the big loser. He lost 6 positions on the opening lap. That was a poor start. You can see the Monster Mustang back in the drive. And Holdsworth almost had a look then. One of the crazy things about this race, it's 161 laps, but the first little bit of the race, it's like a 5-lap sprint.
Jostling for position and grabbing something early when it's easy pickings is what they're trying to do. But they also don't want to get too greedy. Now, Holdsworth's been a very quick co-driver all week, and he's stalking our leader, and in fact has a look down the inside. He's cleanly in there. D'Alberto does not put up any resistance, and Lee Holdsworth skips through to the lead, and Tander will buy into this as well from 3rd. So our reigning champion co-driver also offers the nose of the Red Bull car down the inside. The track is nice and clean down the inside, having been swept there pre-race, and now Tander moves it up into 2nd.
Forward, long way to go.
Holdsworth, Tander, D'Alberto, Davison, Slade, Wood, Best, Davey Russell, James Moffat, who dropped down the order, and Bryce Forward the 10. Look at the margin that Holdsworth's got now. 0.8 of a second already as they set off on their first flying lap.
Green flag, green flag.
We are set. Let's rejoice again as we listen to the music of supercars ringing out around Mount Panorama Bathurst. And safely negotiate?
I think they did. And Murphy's still trying to gather it up. It was wheel spinning, but he gathered it up nicely. What a great start by Lee Holdsworth, and that's the difference between,
trouble.
A massive spin on Mountain Straight. The track's blocked.
Safety car to Pittox and hold, Paul. Pittox and hold.
Car number 9 in trouble here is Jack Perkins. David Couchy, Alistair McVeigh watching, Stephen Grove.
Let me know.
There was a Red Bull car mixed up in that, and I think it was 88. It is 88 in the background. It's Jamie Whincup, the Jack Smith entry with Jackson Evans aboard at the moment in trouble.
Just keep working it back and forth if you
They
can.
made it 10 seconds into the race before we've had trauma. And this is going to be one of the storylines of the day. The minute you're off the asphalt here, there will be absolutely no grip. For Jack Perkins, what a disaster. They've deployed the safety car already on lap 1. No surprise. Now, we had 10 of them in 2014 and 2006 and a pile of safety car laps. I'm betting that we're going to see a lot of them today. They're watching it at Erebus. The Ford Ranger recovery vehicle now just helping to get that car clear.
Has he got it on the black stuff?
Yes, he has. Yeah. Now, the other car that I didn't pick up in all of that was Zach Best as well. What does that geometry look like right rear? Is it crook?
Yeah, I reckon. Have a look at the amount of toe out it's got. It's massively affected there, so that right rear's been damaged.
So there's clearly been a mid-pack jostle. Someone's given someone a hip and shoulder, and they've bumped and ground and bounced off the edges of the road. That car is in terrible trouble. Can you believe it? Now, last year, Will Brown and Jack Perkins had an incredibly fast race car. We saw it in qualifying. Here's the start replay. And then they had power steering trouble. Look at Fabian up against the wall. Lee bolted. Greg Murphy got a ripping start as well. And then we all held our breath, fingers crossed for the water on the exit of 1. Now look mid-pack, what has gone on here? Yeah. I saw 88, I saw Whincup having trouble finding traction, but I didn't understand on the left side what triggered it.
I can't work it out either. In fact, someone has ended up spearing into Jack Perkins, and that was the forceful, this is on board now with Fabian Coulthard, beautiful presence of mind and spatial awareness to put that car on the inside, and you can see all that wet stuff down the outside. This will give us a bit better guide, maybe. There was some drama down the back there too. Was that Heimgar? No. Dale Wood? I don't know which car that was. It was all sideways. So look at this one.
Trying to focus on the mid-pack. So there's a cluster of 3 wide down there. Whincup gets crossed up. There was actually nose-to-tail contact. There was actually the number 8 with Dale Wood in it. I reckon he got into the back of the preceding car. But they would have been checking up on the water. So the reason that they start the concertina there is the minute the car breaks sideways, you're compelled to lift the throttle. Here's an onboard. Whoa!
That's smart.
When Tyler Everingham gets a massive whack.
Oh, is it? Was it Tyler, is it?
Well, no, in the preceding car, yeah. Look at the water and mud, and they're on the brakes, up Mountain Straight, lap 1, cold tyres, Whincup rotating, Jack Perkins rotating, hallelujah, a gap in the middle, and that is a sad sight, unfortunately, for car number 18. It's going to be one long, grueling day of high performance, intense battles, extraordinary teamwork, occasional errors and magical driving skills. Brace yourself for another great race, Australia. It is showtime. And a great start by Jamie Whincup, who sweeps to the lead from Russell on the way up Mountain Straight, and some trouble back at the start.
I couldn't pick who it was now, but there was almost a stalled car. The yellow flags actually come out on pit straight there. Couldn't pick who it was. We will find out what that drama was in the background. But what a great start by Jamie Whincup. He got far enough in the lead to turn across in front of David Russell and commands track position immediately.
Gets to dictate the pace. He's got fresh air on the run, on cold tyres, up to the cutting for the very first time. We don't know their fuel loads, but we do know that they'll be heavy. And they'll be lazy to drive in these first couple of laps. We've got Whincup, Russell, Golding, Waters, Tander, Stanaway, Delberto, Holdsworth, Luff and Payne. That is the top 10 as they make their run across the top of the first time for 161 laps. At the back of the pack there, car number 98.
View from the Century Batteries chopper cam over the top of the hill for the first time. Whincup. No desperado moves in the opening lap. They will already now begin to get a sense of what have I got? What's this thing starting to feel like? Does it feel secure under brakes? Can I lean on those tyres? And if so, how much? Exit Forest Elbow now for the first time, and sizing up Conrod Straight, where they'll build to just on 300 kilometres an hour. This is approaching 80 plus metres per second at the bottom, and there's next to no breeze out there at the moment. They will be making the pace.
Some of those primary drivers, there's 16 co-drivers. There's 12 of the primary drivers on board, and some of those primary drivers have already captured the first lap and done a great job.
Whincup covers, Russell to the outside. James Golding lurking in third, just in case there's a fumble up front. And once again, Russell has a look down the inside to see whether or not he can show the nose. He's also covering because he's under pressure from Golding. James has done a great job to start. Big lock up in the background. I'm not sure whether it was the Penrite car off Tander or whether in fact it was Waters, but there was a significant lock up in the background. What is the mood of the mountain today? This is one of the greatest challenges in motorsport, and it offers the sweetest of rewards. And it is a great start by Brody, but up the inside, Brock Feeney has made a blinder. Is he going to be able to press the case? Brody's out wide. They will run side by side up the mountain for the first time, pulling gears, studying the dashboard, looking at each other as they crest the rise. And we've got Stanaway up into third spot. Waters has dropped back down into position number 4.
Stanaway probably got the best start of the whole lot, but very nice by Feeney to get down the inside, and they paid healthy respect to each other at the first corner. No bumping at that point. Stanaway's got him. Stanaway's been able to get up the inside there of Brock. So nice job by Richie Stanaway from 4th to 2nd.
The cutting, cold tyres. We've seen a lot of strife there again this weekend. Remembering that they've got cold brakes, cold tyres that have got next to no pressure compared to what they normally run at. And this is a challenge over the top of the hill when you're also fighting for those vital spots, because there's some cheap and easy beats early in the first couple of laps if you can get it done. Cresting the mountain for the first time, we've got Kostecki from Stanaway right up his bumper, and then Feeney made a good start. Waters has dropped from the front row back to position 4, then Brown, Di Pasquale, Golding, LeBrock, Payne, Mostert our 10. We ride with Waters on the run, threading the needle down towards the Forest Elbow now for the first time. And this can be a challenge on the opening lap with a cold tyre, because the car doesn't want to brake and turn to your satisfaction.
Yeah, they feel really cumbersome when they've got full fuel load on cold tyres. There's Brody Kostecki and a lot of them weaving down the straight at the moment, trying to build some tyre temperature to finish off this first lap. And they don't feel nice here on the first lap either. And Stanaway straight down the inside. Oh, that's a bold move.
Brody saw him, gave him space if he was able to go on with it, but that compromises the line for both of them, and some strife back in the pack forward, having a moment with David Reynolds. And now Stanaway, because of that slower exit that I spoke of, vulnerable to Feeney in that process as Mostert tries to make a move on Payne. We've completed lap 1 of 161. Our order at the moment: Kostecki, Stanaway and Feeney.